Higgs Village, an out-of-place warehouse that helps shed a bit of light on the enigmatic members of the group known as the Think Tank, the rulers, or as close as you can get, of Big MT. It is located at the bottom south section of Big MT, near the X2 transmitter antenna array. Quite a large number of trauma harnesses and lobotomites can be found nearby, so only enter here if you're prepared to make the journey. Inside, an even deadlier foe awaits you than either of those two groups, but we will get to that later. The name is odd as well, Higgs Village. Higgs either refers to the Higgs boson particle, suggesting that Big MT may have been aware of it, or is a tribute to Peter Higgs, one of the researchers who proposed the mechanism that suggested the particle's existence and who it is named after. I also want to add that this is not a video on the Think Tank itself, and will only lightly touch on each of them in connection to their homes. So inside this warehouse are 6 buildings, one for each of the Think Tank members, as this is where they lived while they were still human and working inside Big MT. Each of these houses gives us a little bit of insight into the lives of each of the members, and for me anyway, eliminates a lot of the sympathy I held for them. In these houses we are going to see a lot of evidence that the members of the Brain Trust have always been touched in the head, and as centuries of floating around as brains in jars did not cause their madness, it was always there to begin with. The first house we will start with is 000. This inside is in quite a state of disarray, with a damaged Securitron in the corner, which we will come to later, and piled up furniture and chalkboards dotted around the place, suggesting that the individual who lived here was competent with machines and calculations, given the need for a chalkboard and the Securitron. High-tech computer equipment can still be found functional after who knows how many years. The kitchen has a picture of Anthony House on the wall, with several knives buried in it, suggesting that whoever lived here was no fan of his. This explains the torn apart Securitron, as they may have wanted to figure out how his inventions worked, or just wanted to pull them apart. We can tell it's pre-war given how old the model of Securitron is. Upstairs, even more impressive computers can be found, possibly being used to dissect or analyse his Securitrons. The bathroom has been converted to store a generator, presumably to power all the machines that were needed to analyse the Securitrons and turn them apart. An office space can be found with an eye monitor inside, and the giant tarantula audio sample. This was Dr. Zero's house. We can figure this out in the Securitrons and the picture of Mr. House, as Dr. Zero displays a hatred of him at several points in the DLC. That, and the door says 000 on it. Next is 101. No relation to the vault, of course, before you stock the furnace of your hype train. So some form of party god dwelt in this residence, as we shall soon see. The house is quite well kept, much more so than the previous one, with a well-stocked Sunset Sarsaparilla machine. The kitchen looks like it was set out for some meal, and hanging on the wall is this really creepy photo. It unnerves me to look at it, like someone scratched out the face, even though it's clearly just meant to look like that. A bar can be found back in the living room, stocked with large amounts of alcohol of varying types, providing a perfect supply to drink or sell. Up the stairs, we can find the bathroom with a bit of drink left out, perhaps by someone wishing to take a swig while on the bogs. Or even more depressing, while taking a bath. So whoever was here was an alcoholic of quite a high order. The middle room has another eye monitor along with some impressive looking equipment. The Sync Project book chute can be found on the desk, and over by the bookcase we can find Klein's glove. So this is our first bit of evidence telling us which of them owns the house. It's Klein! The bedroom is quite quaint looking, and contains his scrubs. Besides having good specs, they give us the rest of the evidence that we need that this was in fact Dr. Klein's house. An old world flag can be found above the door, which means he may have considered himself a patriot of sorts. Next house is number 102, with all sorts of weird stuff around it. A skeleton can be found dead on the picnic table at the back. Another one can be found by the front door, this time with a camera, so possibly a pre-war reporter of sorts. On the roof, some arse is straddling it and drinking beer. I can't help but wonder were these some of the patrons from Klein's house and the party spilled over into the neighbouring one. Though how they died is anyone's guess. Inside is a fucking tip, with the furniture thrown all about the place and several screens broken on the wall, along with a Nuka-Cola clock. More high-tech equipment can be found on the walls, and the kitchen looks like it was turned over or raided by someone, possibly the Boggins out the back. Upstairs has some of the most impressive tech seen thus far, with several supercomputers mounted on the walls along with varying other pieces of equipment as well. The recipe for the science skill book can be found as you enter the bedroom. Many mentats can be found in the house, and this room has a very large amount of them, suggesting someone has a condition that requires large amounts of them, or is addicted. One of the screens is broken as well. I propose this is the house of Dr. Mobius, who is known to have a mentat addiction, as well as other substance abuse. The monitor in the living room also mirrors his eyes, with the right being broken and the left still functioning. After this is House 103, one of the more fucked houses. The inside's well kept, and dotted around the living room are bird cages of varying shapes and sizes, which is downright fucking ominous to me, as no birds are found within. A door can be found in the room leading to the kitchen, but we will get to that later. The kitchen's mostly sparse, with one cage to be found in the corner. Up the stairs, we can find yet more cages, and a well-kept sitting area. Yet it's the bedroom that sheds the most light on who owned this house. Inside, a bird cage perched on the desk has a key. The key to Dr. Boris's basement. So now we know who owns the house, which makes all the empty cages quite ominous. The medicine skill book can be found on the desk. Also, beside a dino toy not unlike the souvenirs, a knife can be found stabbed into a piece of paper that says Dad, along with a picture on it, which besides being creepy, may suggest a poor relationship with his father. Also remember, this guy made cazadores and night stalkers, so his father probably had reason to fucking hate him. However, it's the basement which gives us some real context, though we didn't need it, on how fucked up he is. Lots of animal cages and tools. He tortured and cut up animals down in this basement. Based on the tools at hand, he used syringes and butter knives, which makes it even worse. He also assaulted a teddy bear, and most likely used the Ripper as well. Not that that's any more humane. This also explains the empty bird cages. The birds were brought here to be slaughtered by this sick fucking arsehole. At the back of his house, we can find the dog house of Gabe, who is also experimented on and who you will have to deal with later. However, if you have the Wild Wasteland perk, you can encounter Stripe, this really small deathclaw. It is essentially a small alpha male deathclaw, and is just as dangerous. So do not let its adorableness throw you off. It will fuck you up if you give it the chance. He also refuses to go near the fountain, similar to the gremlin it is named after. 108 is an odd one. Out the back a skeleton can be found, and it looks like it may have belonged to a reporter or photographer, but once again I don't know why they would be here. Inside, we immediately get a hint of who owns the house. 8 paintings can be found lining the wall to the right, and 8 clocks the wall beside the stairs. This house belonged to Dr. 8, the mute of the group. This suggests that he has a bit of an obsessive compulsive disorder. 8 mugs can be found with 8 spoons lined up in front of them, and 8 plates can be found on the opposite counter with 8 pairs of cutlery. Oddly enough, some of the objects are out of place, which is unlikely to be the doing of Dr. 8, meaning someone may have moved them to try annoy or get to him. Several jukeboxes can be found inside the house, although none of them work. A lot of radio equipment is also found upstairs, along with the Sync Project Jukebox, which suggests that he was working on it at the time. His bedroom has even more jukeboxes inside it, although not working, and the opera singer tape. More radio equipment as well, which means he may have had an obsession with the radio equipment or the frequencies. The suitcase has a lot of pre-war money, and that's about it. I find it quite sad that someone tried to fuck with him by messing up his patterns. Maybe it was one of the drunken yobs from down the street. And once again, the door number is a clue. 104 is the last house and has some pretty freaky shit inside it. The house, oddly enough, looks pristine and well kept, as if someone is still living inside or was until very recently. Everything is fine, the kitchen is ordinary enough, nothing odd there, and then you get upstairs. Yup. See, we were actually playing Silent Hills the whole time. Yeah. It appears to be a catwalk of some sort with teddy bears as the audience, and what in the fuck like? The sights that these poor bears have bird. Heh. Witness 2. The speech skill book recipe is found on the radio. Now we go into the bedroom, and then we immediately consider leaving. Remember, people who pose mannequins are fucking psychopaths in the world of Fallout. Based on both the male and female clothes, there's a good chance that this person was a crossdresser. Given the obsession with bears and the human form, and she's the only one left, this is Dr. Dala. You know, the creepy one that's far too interested in human anatomy? Yeah. Just some things to tie up now. There's a miniature model of this place inside the X-17 meteorological station. In there you can turn on the weather system and make water pour out of the fountain. Though beyond that, I'm not sure why the model is present. The layout is also similar to that of Tranquility Lane. which may mean that they reuse some of the assets for it. This place is interesting as all of the buildings reflect the personalities or little quirks of each member of the think tank, and give us some insight into how they were before they put themselves in jars. And for the most part, they were more or less the same. Batshit fucking insane. The former dwellings of some of the most deranged scientists that can be found anywhere in the wastes. If you enjoyed my look into them and want to see more of my content, check out my playlist to see if there are any more questions on Fallout that you have, and I may have answered. Any support in spreading the word of this channel is greatly appreciated, as Fallout 4 is just around the corner. If you want to support me and get regular updates, subscribe. Any suggestions or feedback for the episode should be left either in the comments below or on my subreddit, which is linked in the description. Follow me on Reddit or Facebook to get regular channel updates and to talk to me or have a wee chat. If you want to get in contact with me regarding business, message me here on YouTube or on my Twitter, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. I hope you did enjoy this episode, and I hope to see you in the next one. Until then, goodbye.